Hey guys, listening to the podcast. It's me, John Williams, and I'm going to take you along. Well, forget John Williams. You can learn about film score composing from me, Nicole Russin-McFarland. I'm younger, hipper, and I have a podcast. John Williams doesn't. Actually, I love John Williams, so that's not a knock at him. I'm just being silly. But let's begin with my very first film score composing episode. Let's talk about keys. Oh, you left your keys in the car? No, not those keys. Keys like, are you writing in the key of G, the key of C, the key of B, the key of M? No, there is no M in music. So if you think there is, you should probably learn about A, B, C, D, E, F, G and start learning about that and flats and sharps. But it doesn't go beyond G. Sorry, M. We love you in the alphabet, but it doesn't. So are you ready to write in the key of whatever your choice is? A, B flat, whatever. Good. You should probably study music first. Okay. So now that you've studied music and you have returned to this podcast 15 years from now, in the future, hello, it's the year 2035 because I'm recording this in the year 2020. No, like, just kidding, guys. Please at least gain a bit of knowledge, just a little bit before it's not going to take 15 years. But you're going to write in your key of your choice. Okay, we had that out of the way. So you want to switch keys. Let's talk about that. And let's also talk about why you should switch keys, those two elements. Okay, number one, how do you switch keys? There are multiple ways. It is called transposing. And how do you transpose? Well, you rip out a chart of different scales, find the one you want, and you start with that note, whatever it is, like F, you start with F or whatever it is, and you redo the tune, but it's preferable that you don't write the whole tune in all the backing sounds. What you want to do is you have the main melody, and you can have an idea for the counter melody, maybe some other elements, but don't go the whole way down. Just keep those two handy, because you're going to use them a lot in your film score and you're going to use them separately. So you might change things around. You can always be a nerd who transposes the whole thing, but you don't have to. And you probably don't want to, because you want your film score to sound a little different in different parts of the movie. Yeah, I told you I'm John Williams. I know everything. No, John Williams wishes he were me. No, actually, I'm the product of playing all kinds of film score music for my homework assignments. So I would say a good, I don't know, half, if not more, I'm just guessing, was John Williams, my flute assignments. So anyway, gentlemen and ladies listening to this podcast, you want your theme to sound different, or it will be a very boring movie and a very boring soundtrack. So just have the first two elements, maybe three elements of your theme ready. Like I said, the main melody, the counter melody, and any additional points that are, without going into detail, just kind of like the highlights of things. Then let's get to how you do it. So, assuming you are indeed not an A-list composer yet, you do it yourself. I know. What am I thinking? There are peasants working for me in my office. That's not true. I'm not yet. Anyway. Actually, when people work for me, I promise, I'm not going to be one of those mean people who refers to my employees secretly in my mind as peasants. But for now, I'm by myself. So I have to transpose by hand. And I have to go with these not fingering charts, although those are cool. My charts of all my scales. And this is the time I feel like saying, I studied flute and I actually need to use scales. Yeah, I need to use scales. So say I wrote in C, then I'm just going to figure out in my head from the main melody what that would be in C. Once I have that, you work on one thing at a time. Then you have the counter, and then you have the highlights. So highlights are like the third counter, the second counter melody, technically. There's another way you could do that, and it's on the computer. So if you're super duper lazy, and I have been at times, you can go on your computer, GarageBand, anything, and flip the scale up. Pretty simple. Although make sure that if you, this has happened to me so many times. I'm super lazy and I use GarageBand. I mean, I secretly love it. Although I've used other programs, I just love GarageBand. It's so simple. And so I've made this mistake. So don't make my mistake. But, you know, I'm prone to doing it. Okay, so say that it says you're writing in this key of C. Sometimes I don't actually write in C when I put C on my whatever I'm writing on. So when you put it, even though it's technically correct to whatever GarageBand shifts it onto, and it sounds perfect. It's just that if you put it on C and sometimes you put it like, I want to switch it to F, then when you put it on F, it's not F, it's actually something else. It's so stupid of me to do that, but don't do that, because then you'll have to think in your head like, okay, what did this scale just move to B flat? Oh, and then you have to figure it out. Whereas, you know, like if you just do it from the get-go and you put C and you actually write in C because it comes with C, or you just shift it to whatever you're writing, B flat, whatever, D flat, it'll go your way and you will save time. Even if it's only 2 minutes of your time or 1 minute or 5 seconds, you will save time. So don't do that. Although there will be a few nights when you will, trust me. Laziness wins the day or evening if you're writing at night. Okay. And there's a third option, which is called have other people do it for you. And you could do that. You could pay people to do it for you if you don't have your A-list composer peasant minions around you. You can loan it out. Although if you're a real film score composer who's going to be an A-list film score composer someday with your Oscar, why don't you do it yourself? You know, I mean, that's the value of learning everything about this trade, is that you should learn how to do it yourself. So you might suck. You might not know how to do it in 10 seconds, but you will get it done. Do it yourself, at least until you have peasants working for you. And you're like, yes, sir, I really want to do anything for you. You're a famous film score composer. And they speak with this like old Hollywood idea of what a Cockney accent is. Huh. Anyway, I told you I'm silly. But through my silliness, we learn things along the way. Okay, so now let's get to this major point. What are we doing all this for? Why are we shifting scales? It's not only because they're itchy and belong to lizards. No. Scales and keys. The musical sense. What are we doing with them? Well, we want to heighten drama. We want to change the attitude of a scene. We want to work with high versus low notes, which we're going to get to later as to why those are important. But for you right now, do you want the high notes or do you want the low notes? Because suddenly your score, the theme, is going to sound very different once you put it on the higher notes or the lower notes, or you can play with that and hear things and ideas in your head that didn't get there because you only heard it in one key. What if you want a key change within the same song to be more dramatic? What if you want to change it to reflect another mood? So there's so many reasons why you want to switch keys. Do you have to switch keys all the time? No. You can write an entire score in the same key. Some very famous people only like writing in certain keys. Good for them. But I'm somebody who likes writing in a key or two, and then I switch it because I get bored. I want to hear differences. I want to have experiments in my work. I want to have experiments in my characters and reflections of what the music could be. And it's just boring to me to have it in one key. So let's talk about keys today. You need to be switching them. They're very easy things to do in life that get easier with time and with practice. Transposing into a different key is exactly one of those things. So good luck, everybody. I hope to share more knowledge with you. And I don't know everything, but whatever I do know and pick up on the way, this is what I'm sharing with you. It's the goal of this podcast that we all do that. So good luck.